shit, man. It's like Metal Mike is like the epitome of just excited right now.
Yes, I am. By the way, happy Memorial Day to everybody out there.
Man, thanks to the vets, dude.
Special shout out to the vets and anybody who's defended our country.
Yes, past, present, or future, man.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Because of you guys, we can do what we're doing right now.
This is what we do.
And so let's just not forget that the U.S. military is by far the baddest of the bad in the world, man.
I think it's safe to say we have the biggest dicks.
Right. We definitely bring our nuts in on a damn airplane carrier.
Oh, you know it.
Those aren't tanks, man. Those are our balls.
That's right.
We're bringing the heat. Hey, man, so tonight, man, thrash metal is on tap, man. I'm talking about old school thrash metal. That's what this show pays homage to. Metal Mike and I, man, pre-prod. We're talking about some things that we're going to talk about. We're kind of going to do a Memorial Day of sorts in our own rights. We're going to talk a lot tonight about the veterans of metal. And namely, and we can get into individuals and contributions. We can get into records. We can get into record labels that have definitely paved the way. We can get into all kinds of stuff because between the two of us, we're just packed full of useless facts.
Oh, man, I've got stacks of it.
And we got stacks of wax on tap, man. I'm talking about, so I'm going to get busy on the ones and twos tonight, man. I'm going to do some of that DJ shit. I'm going to throw back, man. We're going to have a good time.
It sounds great, man.
There's nothing better than a Friday night, man. Everybody's out there tapping kegs right now, man, and just getting ready to party. Well, and I'm talking about crank this shit up and let's throw a rock and roll party. Redneck Metal Mafia.
Hey, all you people barbecuing in your backyard, it's about time to get a circle pit going.
Yeah, around the barbecue grill.
Yes, sir.
But don't drop the brisket.
I just want to give a shout out to my family out there for listening. Hello, family. Love
hey,
ya.
So, man, you're bringing some listeners to the table. That's awesome, man. Good stuff, dude. We'll put on a good show for them, hopefully.
Oh, I know we will.
Hopefully they won't be like, Mike, tell Will to shut up.
Nah, I don't think so.
So, I got a lot of feedback off of last week's show on multiple levels. The feedback was a couple people had asked me, like, how far back me and you go as far as, like, being friends and shit. And I was like, surprisingly enough, not really that long. We just met, and we met through a mutual friend, actually, D-Bag. And and so, we kind of just hit it off right from the jump, you know what I mean? And I guess that portrays into, like, we've been like lifelong buddies, the way we go back and forth. Is that your phone going off?
Nope, not no more.
Jesus Christ, you're blowing up, dude. That's awesome.
Love it.
Metal Mike's getting fans, like, nonstop, and he doesn't have his glasses on, so he can't see your text messages because he hasn't figured out how to take his Android and make his screen font size old man friendly.
Well, it would be letter for letter. That's how we're going to do it.
Why does it take Mike 3 weeks to respond to a text? Because that's how long it takes him to read it. Jesus God. Speaking of metal and Memorial Days and veterans of, I know we said we're doing a thrash metal gig tonight, man, and you can't really discredit Slipknot in that as far as the new area goes.
Absolutely not.
But I felt tonight being a pretty prevalent night, man, to send one out to a long lost brother, man, Paul.
Mr. Gray.
Tragically found dead. And a great loss for music in general. So, we're definitely going to throw some of the nod out there tonight, man, and let you rock that too. And I think anybody that's listening to this show will appreciate that as well. Maybe throw, we're talking about veterans, man, throw in some Wayne Static, man, and just really just kind of bring it all home and let people experience what we're talking about. Like, it's almost like we're narrating the story, man, and it's kind of, that's kind of the feel for tonight, man.
Hey, we got the easy part. We narrate. They've already wrote the story.
Right. All we get to do is talk about it, which is really kind of kick-ass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, we're pretty good about talking about things. What's going on with you, man? What's up with you the last week? I know you've been busy, man, and I know you're excited about this deal.
I am excited. Last week was kind of just my warm up. I'm feeling it today. I'm definitely got my devil horns ready to throw in the air. And
metal up. That's like your favorite saying in the entire world.
It is.
Metal up. Mike, when you die, I'm so putting that. I'm going to see to it that that's on your tombstone.
I don't care if you have to engrave it yourself.
Like your tombstone is going to look like this.
That's what I want.
And it's going to be like the metal horns, and it's going to say, probably engraved with a Dremel tool because we're too broke to afford it. But it will say, metal up.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'll dig it deep enough that I can put some black spray paint on it and then wipe it off so it looks like it's original. Looks like it's original equipment.
That would be awesome. I
know, not that we're planning on you dying or anything.
Oh, no time soon.
But when you do, we're going to send you out the right way, dude.
That's right. And that's the way to go. No, it's been a crazy week. You know, I'm just trying to get my bearings and, come up with some interesting things to talk about on the show. Kind of looked into Victory Records and some of the artists on the label, and I'm very impressed.
I'm telling you right now, to be a part of Victory Records, as far as the station is concerned, there's a lot of stations that are supported by record labels. I mean, you look at our brothers that are very close, in what we do at Rock Rage Radio. They got record label support from a couple little indie labels and some things like that. But for us to be tied in with Victory Records is huge because the amount of music that this record label's putting out on a daily basis is amazing. And some of the greatest metal bands on the touring circuit right now are coming off of Victory Records.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
I mean, you can't discredit them. I mean, they're here to stay. They proved themselves in the game.
Oh, they definitely got their roadworthiness down to their own cue. I was like I said, just going through the list. There's just so many to mention, really. I mean, and a lot of them you're hearing for the first time on the radio right here,
right on the blast because we get it fed to us as it's coming out,
and that's awesome.
So we're breaking new music in regular rotation daily.
And that's awesome. That's what makes fans like me right here. I mean,
you get a different taste, man. I mean, it's like the one thing that I think that sets the blast apart in regular rotation and our live shows is that we do things that everyone else isn't doing. We play and say the shit that everyone else should be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I'm kind of glad that we don't fall into that category of when you listen to the blast, you're not going to hear the same 25 songs all day.
No.
We have literally 3 terabytes of music loaded into the station that just randomly rotates through the day.
I love that word.
So,
terabytes.
Yeah. so the odds of hearing the same song twice in a day are slim to none. Yeah. Unless there's a reset in the computer. Which does happen. Yeah.
It does happen.
Does happen every once in a while. But, we take pride in doing different things. And that's why the YouTube thing is so important because also our Blastcast, which is what we're doing right now, a live broadcast of, it doesn't follow the traditional podcast platform where, people know what you're going to talk about and this, that, and everything. We just wing it, man. Join in, listen in, and go for a ride with us, man. That's what it's about,
Well, a lot of stations, you can almost predict what's going to come on next. And this is one of them. You will not be able to predict it.
Not very damn often.
No.
If ever.
If ever.
Listen, I program it, and I can't tell you what's coming on next. I don't know if that's because I can't remember or if it's just that well done.
I think it's because it's that well done.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Hopefully everyone else out there digs it, man. We're starting to grow, man. We're growing daily, and we have since launch, and it's just a great thing. And I think the addition of this revamped Assault, man, under the banner of the Redneck Metal Mafia, man, and those people that can tag themselves as a part of that, it's a really cool little niche, man, that we've kind of came up with on a whim last week.
Most definitely.
And so, it fits us. If you think about it, man, the Redneck Metal Mafia, man, be proud of that shit. Look for bumper stickers coming, dude, because it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming, man. Wear it proud, brothers, because this is cowboy rock, man. It's thrash metal. It's back to the roots, man. We're going to gather some notes, man. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back, and we're going to get into some heavy shit, man. How about that?
All right. Let's get the pit started.
Go. And we're back from a little break, man. Hopefully you're rocking and rolling. Hopefully you didn't burn yourselves on the barbecue while you was circle pitting around the backyard, and hopefully you didn't spill your beverage. If you did, hopefully you got plenty of backup. You got backup brisket. You got backup coolers. all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Back up bags of ice.
Dude, here's what I can't wait for. I can't wait for us to get to that 100 subscribers on YouTube so we can live video feed this. Because our off-air conversation was just something of absolute amazing. And we're going to talk about it a little bit on air. Thanks, Queen. We're going to talk about it a little bit on air, but we're not going to replicate that feel that we just had.
All right.
And so this is why it's so important to go to the Blast YouTube channel and subscribe, because not only can you listen to this, because all this shit's going to tape, right? You can listen to the talk part of the show. No music on YouTube just because of the royalty acts, things like that. We'll keep that for the station. But the talk portions of the show as Blastcast, so you can come back and you can listen to yourself, Metal Mike, and you can be like, damn, I sounded dumb, or damn, man, I sounded good, right? So it's kind of cool. You can tell your girlfriend, dude, check me out, I'm on the radio, you know? But the thing that we were talking about is we were talking about thrash metal, and we were talking about the roots of thrash metal. Now, let's talk for a little bit of history here. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. You can jump in any time. Punk rock is where thrash metal was derived. It was a more angry, political, faster chord progression version of punk rock, basically is what it was. It was punk rock sped up.
Yeah.
And people liked it. They loved it. Now, thrash metal goes on to be its own thing, and there's a lot of, we were talking about the vets, and we'll throw some out there right now. You have Exodus, the band Exodus. Definitely. Coroner. I mean, we're going way back with Coroner, man. Voivod. You know, clear up to and not included to any. You can't forget Psycho Myco, man, and Suicidal Tendencies and yeah, and Phil Anselmo and Newstead and stuff like that. And God damn it, I just did it. Yeah, that's one. That's one. You know, so we're gonna not talk about the Big Four tonight. We are in a sense, but we're not gonna talk about the Big Four, and here's why. Because my question to you guys out there listening is this. As thrash metal fans, as the Redneck Mafia, do you think that thrash metal going mainstream as fast as it did by way of Anthrax, Metallica, Slayer, and Megadeth, did it hurt the genre more than it helped it? And there's argument on both sides of the fence. And I want to get your input, Metal Mike, because you got some great theories on this. But at the end, I want to break it down to the way I see it based on musical data.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's talk about the Big Four making thrash metal mainstream.
Most
Go.
definitely. Well, you know, a lot of what turned me on to the Big Four bands was the cover songs that they did. You know, you had Metallica doing Budgie, and you had them doing Killing Joke, and you had them doing the Misfits, and you had them doing like what was the other one?
The whole Garage EP was,
man. I mean,
covers.
if it wasn't for that EP, I honestly would not have gotten turned on to a lot of these bands.
Right.
You know? And you have Anthrax doing Trust, you know, which is an awesome band, very political. And you were right to say that, you know, when you said that punk back then was very political, because there was a message in music back then too. I mean,
it was more punk was more geared toward Britain, though.
Yeah.
You know, England and stuff like that. That's where a lot of the, and even over here in the States, it still translated to that. It wasn't really relative to.
We had our punk bands out here. We had the Bad Brains. We had
you know, the Ramones and things like that. But look at what the Ramones did.
Gabba Gabba Hey.
I mean, Joey Ramone, a badass.
Oh, most definitely. All four of them guys.
I mean,
they were powerhouses.
But they were just. And I don't want to piss anybody off by saying this, but it was haphazard punk rock.
It was.
It wasn't truly punk rock because it wasn't against the system.
This is true.
And the system that punk rock represents is the system of Great Britain and the UK and things like that. It really didn't ever come across to the American side of government and politics until way later in punk rock, maybe dating into the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And so my thought process is thrash metal derives from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we were talking about, you know, the Big Four being mainstream and what it did. And I just wanted to interject real quick there. So just tell me to shut up and keep talking.
You're fine. The bands that really got me into thrash were the more unheard of bands. I mean, like, as you said before, Exodus, Death Angel, Testament, most definitely Testament. A lot of those bands just they appealed to me on a level that a lot of bands couldn't. And if it wasn't for the outlets that we had to listen to music back then, I wouldn't have never heard these bands. And now I'm full-fledged. I mean, like, whenever they put something out, I've got to be on top of it and listen to what's coming out, because it's very rare that I'm disappointed by these bands. It is.
But as far as thrash metal's concerned, thrash metal had a run from, like, we'll say 80, 81 to about 89.
Right.
Right, outside of the big four.
Right.
Because 89 to, and we'll talk about this, from 89 to 91, there's a lost gap of music.
There is.
It's where, arena rock was still fighting for space, thrash was still fighting for space, everything was still fighting for space, even the Seattle sound, which I don't relate to grunge at all. The Seattle sound mainly to me is represented by greats like Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, even old school Pearl Jam, things like that. Not really necessarily grunge, kind of just fighting for space in there. Grunge comes out so mainstream that it just overshadows everything.
Agreed.
And it all goes down, right?
I agree. I was always into, when it came to the grunge sound, I was always into bands like the Melvins and Tad and Screaming Trees.
Mother Love Bone. True grunge
Green
bands.
River, Mudhoney.
True
Rich.
grunge bands. The Melvins. That's funny you said that. I love the Melvins. But, okay, so my thought process on it is, if we look at thrash metal and longevity of it, there's still all of us out there that love our thrash metal.
Oh, yes.
Right? But there's very few thrash metal bands still making records that aren't the big four. And they've withstood the test of time. Exodus, Death Angel, Testament, Downset just put out a new one.
Downset.
Right, so you get into that. Now, my thoughts on it are this. The big four helped bring thrash metal to a bigger audience, to a bigger platform. But by doing so, it took the underground feel of thrash metal and that standout feeling you had of being a metalhead back then, a headbanger, they called us.
Right.
Was something to be proud of. You wore that proud because you had to adapt that lifestyle, right? By making it mainstream, you then subject the entire genre to trendiness. And I feel that if thrash metal didn't go as mainstream as quickly as it did, it would still be a very thriving genre inside the subdivisions of metal. Let's just look at punk rock for perfect example. Punk rock never really went mainstream. There's very well-known punk rock bands. Sex Pistols, the Ramones, the Dead Kennedys. DRI, SOD, which is considered thrash metal.
Oh yes,
but still punk rock. They still got that crossover. Even crossover even existed back then, right?
Yes.
And then you get into like Voivod, which started as a punk band,
right,
and then they transformed with it. Punk rock never really went mainstream. Now listen to me. I'm not saying that it's not well known. That's not what I'm saying, because it's very well known. And the reason why is because it was never commercialized. Never was punk rock commercialized. It stayed true to its roots. It stayed true to its form. And it's still thriving.
I agreed.
There's new punk rock bands forming every day. And I'm sorry to disappoint you folks. It's not fucking Green Day. If punk rock had an emo band, it would be Green Day.
Oh, they would definitely be the emo band.
Right.
They'd be the...
Right. So what I'm saying is this. Did it make thrash metal a bigger platform? Yes. But I believe that the big four going mainstream and as big as they did hurt the genre as far as authenticity and longevity. Because then, once it becomes trendy, something else comes out that kills it and moves it to a whole different deal. And Jay gets into this conversation with me a lot about why the hell is there so many different subversions of metal? And my theory is because you can't just be a doctor because you want to be. You have to meet certain credentials to do so. So death metal isn't thrash metal. It's not heavy metal as what people consider heavy metal. It is death metal. It's centered around death and destruction. Right. So it explains itself, but I know it gets confusing, and it does for me and you too.
It does, and I tend to find myself using those subgenre labels as well to describe where I'm going with what I'm talking about. And I kind of bite my tongue every time I do, because to me it seems like it's almost kind of a racism in music. But it really does help. It helps focus the conversation a little bit better. It does.
We got Jay fired up.
Uh-oh.
He says, "Fuck you," but he's got a lot of good. So obviously Jay's into punk, man, because he's like big on defended punk, and he just brought up some bands that are very well known that could be considered commercial punk bands. I don't think so, though. Still, I would argue the point that they're not commercial; they're just very well known. Operation Ivy,
great band.
Descendants, and Descended Crass, and Minor Threat.
Wow.
You can't but see, now let's talk about that for a minute. Minor Threat wasn't really considered punk rock. That was a subgenre of punk rock known as skate rock.
Right.
Which is where DRI, The Exploited,
Agnostic
Front, and bands like that, that's where they thrived.
Most definitely.
Still punk rock, but a little bit heavier. Almost the in-between punk rock and thrash. Right? And we can agree, right? In a chronological musical order, this is how it's evolved. My point is that bands like Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, and Megadeth, great bands. They're still out doing it. They're still making records. They're still kicking ass. And they keep it alive on that mainstream metal, feel. But them getting as big as they did, as quick as they did, I believe was the demise of thrash metal as a genre.
I could see where you're coming from on that. And honestly, it did knock it down a level. As far as like what we were listening to in the early '90s compared to what we listen to now, it kind of desensitized a lot of it too. It's kind of predictable sometimes where the songs are going to go as far as like the direction when you get into them, and it's a shame. It is. I'm not to dog any of the bands out there that are playing.
No, not at all. That's not what we're doing. We're not beating them up. We're bringing up a different light here. We're talking about longevity of the deal, and then so you fast forward to the 98. So we go through the 90s with the grunge, and there's still great bands coming out, but music needed heavy, man. And there for a long time, heavy didn't exist outside of Pantera, Sepultura, and a couple other bands that were keeping it going. Helmet, Prong, Biohazard, right? But it was just so few and far between that they really thrived because they weren't really competing against anything.
No.
You know what I mean? And then you get into like 98 to 01, we'll say, where once again, music's at a crossroad and it's fighting for space. Now you got bands that are coming out that are just stupid, angry, and heavy. You got Machine Heads. You got Slipknots. You got Pantera is just kicking ass and taking names. Did we say Machine Head?
No, I think we said Machine Head a couple of times.
Let's say again, Machine Head. Let's say Machine Head again. Downset. VOD.
VOD, Visions of Disorder, a very overlooked band.
Coal Chamber, right? And all of this is a derivative of what the leftover thrash metal kids are doing.
Right. Corrosion of Conformity.
COC, which, deserves their own right in history.
Oh, most definitely.
Even into bands like Tool that really kept it going on a mainstream level. And then you get into the new metal genre, which is formed. Korn,
Deftones,
and even throw it out there. Limp Bizkit, man. Fred Durst did a great job.
Oh yeah,
love Limp Bizkit or hate Limp Bizkit. They put on a hell of a show, and they were heavy enough that you bought their record. Don't lie.
And they still do, and they are still hitting heavy.
Dude. Is it my thing necessarily? No, but I love Fred, man. He's a good dude, man, and deserves his credibility.
My little brother's a big Limp Bizkit fan, and he kind of keeps me in the flow of the new stuff. And I can't say I'm disappointed.
No, I mean it's definitely good. But Wes Borland's back, John Otto on drums, man. I mean it's just a star-studded lineup.
Right.
Fred Durst really couldn't possibly screw that up.
Hey, come on, DJ Lethal.
Yeah, Lethal. I mean,
Hey-o.
yeah. So when you think about that, and you think about how it almost appears that every decade music changes somehow, some way. It's like music has a 10-year run, and then it needs change. Right?
Like a makeover, huh?
It's kind of like we just fiend for more, man. I mean, how heavy can we go? And people argue this all the time. Like a lot of these new bands that are coming out, they're playing in drop G, man. And Jay, being a guitar player, if he's listening, can relate to this. Drop G is stupid low, man.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really need to tune that low to be heavy?
No.
Because Alex Skolnick still plays in E.
Yeah,
and he's one of the by far the heaviest guitar players out there.
Most definitely.
You don't have to drop just because you drop your guitar and you play power chords don't make you heavy. It's the message, it's the feel, it's the jump, it's the bounce, it's the man. I love you, brother, but I want to rip your face off right now. And the other guy's okay with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the beauty of being a headbanger, man. The Redneck Metal Mafia, dude. We just beat the shit out of each other so we don't beat the shit out of anybody else. And we love our metal, man.
Oh, yeah. We knock you down so we can help you back up so
right.
you can knock us down.
Right. And it's if the world was a mosh pit, dude, that's exactly what it'd be. You help out your brother, man.
Oh, wait. The world isn't a mosh pit?
I'm sorry to say, but it's not.
Oh, man.
I hate that. I hate that.
Because, I would be shining so far in life right now if the world was a mosh pit.
Me too. I'd probably be a lot skinnier.
Well,
shit. Jay's waiting. Let's see what he has to say. Yeah, he said mid-90s, Korn, Cold Chamber, System of a Down, man.
Most
Rage
definitely.
Against the Machine, you can't count them out. Drowning Pool, great contributor.
Oh, yes.
White Zombie, man. I mean, White Zombie, when they came out, they came out at the most perfect time for them.
I kind of loved how bands like Drowning Pool, for instance, how they descended into, like, one day I was at work and I heard my father walking through work singing, "Let the bodies hit the floor."
Yeah.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, no way.
But is Drowning Pool considered thrash metal? I don't think so.
I think that would be the new metal.
I think it would be new metal.
Yeah.
And so we just got a question, is Trivium not thrash or Shadows Fall? Here's the gray area. Trivium maybe could be considered thrash metal if you break it down by the song dynamics.
The progressiveness, yes.
Right. But I don't think Trivium this day and age is classified as thrash metal. I think they're classified under the new metal or grindcore.
I would have to say they came out probably around the same time as the new metal, and they probably got lumped in there. I mean, honestly, I'm a big fan of Matt Heafy. I think he's an awesome songwriter, and he's a young artist. And they're still one of the heavier bands out there, still touring, and they're relentless. And it doesn't matter what genre they're played in; they're all about it. They really are.
You could almost say that any new band could be considered thrash metal if you break it down by song dynamic. If you're really that technical about it, but Shadows Fall, I wouldn't consider thrash metal.
No, I remember Shadows Fall back when the guy from All That Remains was singing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. They've got a few good songs. I mean, I haven't really dug that far into Shadows Fall.
You should, and I'm going to tell you why. Don't be scared. They're not really like emo rock like everybody thinks they are. They're really heavy. But a different kind of.
When I first heard about these guys, they were on tour with Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage. So I mean, those are some pretty heavy bands to be touring with.
No, negative. Killswitch Engage, not heavy. I mean, they're heavy, mainstream heavy.
They seem like they were having a lot of fun.
but Killswitch would never have made it in the time era that we're in right now.
Oh, most definitely not.
They to me, Kill Switch is a great representation of great commercial songwriting.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're getting paid on each and every one of their tracks. They don't care if their shit's not getting spun. It hurts their feelings. Do you think Megadeth cared?
No.
With Killing or Peace?
Oh,
do you
no,
think Metallica
not.
gave a shit with Kill 'Em All?
Oh, absolutely not.
Do you think that they had any idea they would be where they were at when they were a master of puppets?
Honestly, and that's the beauty of the music that we listen to is. Do you think Black Sabbath ever thought that they would be what they are today?
No, I don't.
Okay.
and so, but Kill Switch, I think definitely thinks that they was going to be where they're at, and probably are saying to themselves they should be farther than what they are.
Yeah.
That's the kind of commercialism that's behind the music business right now. You got guys that are writing for dentist office and regular radio play, and you got guys that are still writing because all they want to do is sell 20 records and get drunk and go play in front of 100 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Exodus and things like that don't really give a shit about record
We just want to play
sales.
fast.
Right. You know, I want to go fast. You know, I got some Bam Bam duct taped underneath that car. No, they don't care about it. So you know, to Jay's point, like Bullet for My Valentine, super heavy, but
Very
not
melodic.
But is that a bad thing? Because so
No.
is Fear Factory.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, I honestly couldn't put the two bands in the same category, to be honest with you. We were talking about Fear Factory earlier, and Fear Factory has just got a dynamic that has not been repeated by anybody.
Okay, so we just got some hate mail.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to answer this question to the best of my ability. It says, can you not say that Metallica sold out after Napster? Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me put an end to this real quick. Yes, Metallica sold out after Napster. Yes, they did. They sold out every goddamn arena that they played for 7 years straight.
They did.
Yes, they sold out.
I like the way you put that.
You know, I mean, so say what you want to about them. This new music equality thing that's going on as far as the royalties and shit are concerned in radio, and anybody that's not in that business doesn't understand. But that's all Metallica was doing back then is the same thing that's happening now that the government's pushing.
Right.
Because they want more money.
It wasn't as regulated.
All Metallica is saying is, hey, look, this is our job. We don't come into your store and shop for free. You know what I'm saying? Don't shop us for free. Now, here's where I disagree with Metallica on this deal. They should have never let Lars be their spokesperson. Because Lars is a dick.
Yeah.
And he made that band sound like a bunch of pricks. And they're really
that's where
not.
I have to come in on that. Honestly, the underground trading is what made Metallica what they are. Honestly. And when the first time I saw Metallica, I saw them open for Ozzy Osbourne at the Coliseum out here. And I had no idea who Metallica was back then. I honestly didn't. I was a
Neither
young
did
kid.
anybody.
And after that, I knew who Metallica was. But I had heard the name before. I seen the patches on jackets. I seen the Creeping Death demo going around.
You never listened to that, dude?
I had never listened to it before I saw him live.
You just lost metal points.
Oh man! But Master of Puppets, I got to see Cliff Burton in his.
You just lost metal points.
Oh man, he's gonna punch my metal
So,
card, isn't he?
so here's the thing. In the argument is brought up, you know, so we were saying that Metallica didn't care about making money. Let me back up. I'm talking about thrash metal Metallica days with Kill 'Em. When they put out Kill 'Em All, they did not give a shit about making money. Yeah, well, they did. They wanted it because they were broke as shit after they released that record.
They were eating hand sandwiches.
Yeah. and so they cared about making enough money to support their drinking habit and pay off the record company, because at that point, all of the money that the record label spent, even up to Master of Puppets, was recoupable. Metallica made no money on any of those records. None.
Right.
They didn't start pocketing until And Justice for All. And so we're talking about back in the day. When they released records, they didn't give a shit back in the day. Now, did they eventually come to that? Yes, they did. So yes, the music business did get a hold of them and did kind of spoil them, which goes completely away from the thrash metal genre. So if you're asking me if they sold out because of that, then yes, they did sell out on the genre. But did they still go on and do a good job? Yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did. Love Metallica or hate Metallica. You know, they do a lot for music, and so it's going on. So you're saying Kill Switch was rich, is rich. Yeah, I'm saying Kill Switch is rich. I've seen Kill Switch's tour budget, and yes, they got plenty of money. They're not hurting. They're not hurting at all. Their commercial payout is an example of great negotiating, great management. And yes, Kill Switch Engage is rich, and they have a lot of money. And they do it because their management negotiated very correctly. The band delivers what they're supposed to get paid out those dividends. Now you look at other bands that should be rich.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Slipknot.
Most definitely.
Not rich.
No.
Mudvayne. Not rich.
No.
They're just not. But that's not the way that their record contracts and their tours and things were designed. Do they make a decent living? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not like super rich. They're not buying islands like Dr. Dre, man. They're not living high on the hog like Eminem. It's just not. They're not Metallica. Metallica's stupid rich.
And that's where you got to admire people like Phil Anselmo. Honestly, I'm sure he does pretty well for himself, but at the same time, he is on a level that isn't really isn't in the mainstream. With the bands that he's in. I love it. I do, because honestly, I think that every time he brings up a different project, and I know he's got a bunch of them going. But every time he brings up a different project, he kind of makes that line about what's heavier in my eyes a little bit higher. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And kind of the same to be said about Mustaine. Even though he's a hoity-toity dude, outward personality, people consider Mustaine to be arrogant. I disagree wholeheartedly.
I just seen a deal on
Dave
Facebook
Mustaine.
the other day
Dave
of
Mustaine
him.
is really, really, really actually a very cool dude. Here's the problem with Mustaine. Mustaine is just so intelligent that when he speaks, he naturally speaks above everybody in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Because of his intelligence level. Very down to earth cat though. I put on one of our social media feeds one time that I wasn't, damn, I'm just under the weather, man. It's going to kill me to do a show tonight and this, that, and everything. One of the first people to respond to was Dave Mustaine.
Really?
Yeah, and he said, bro, suck it up. The show goes on.
I love it.
Damn it. Why do you got to be right, dude? He's like, man, get to feeling better. You know what I mean? And so it's cool. So, you see him in that light, and then you watch an interview with him or something like that. And yeah, very commercialized, very, but it's just because he's so damn intelligent, man. He just really, truly is.
Well, and these days you really just got to know what to look out around the next corner. I just seen a deal on Facebook the other day of him in the lobby of the motel that they were staying in, playing for the fans down in the lobby, just like doing an acoustic set for him. And I thought that was really cool. It shows he's still got the heart.
Jay says, I've seen Mick's house and he's got a mansion. I see. Yeah, we're talking about Slipknot. Yeah, he's got a nice house. But let's talk about that mansion and where it's built at. He probably got into that house for about $400,000, which really isn't a lot of money for the amount of record sales that they've had. Does Slipknot have money? Yeah, they got money, but it's not. Here's the deal that people miss when it comes to music, right? When you sign a record deal, there's a little fine word in there that a lot of people miss, and it's called recoupable. What that means is that the record label is going to front you so much money. And if you go out and spend it like an idiot, that's on you.
Right.
But what you miss in signing that is, because you're looking at that big figure, is that you now have to pay all of that back with interest. It's like a loan.
Right.
Right? So you can have $900 million worth of shit. That doesn't mean you got money. You're paying that shit back. You know what I mean? And with a band that signs... Who in the hell negotiates a 16 record contract with a record label? Who does that? Why? You're just destined to go broke and to end up owing people a lot of money. So then the music business changes and says, okay, because we in the early 2000s and the late 90s, we roped you guys into this shit. So now your bands are breaking up because you've toured nonstop for 10 years. You hate each other, this, that, and the other thing. I can't get a good song out of you. Can't even get you guys in the same studio, right? Okay, Metal Mike, you can go do a one song on a movie soundtrack. That counts as one record on your record contract. Will, You can go do a compilation CD, right? That counts as one record, right? So now you can split it up and everybody can get side projects. If you think that everything that these guys are doing outside of their original bands aren't to feed their original record contract, you're wrong.
I agree.
You're absolutely wrong. There's a definite business side to the music industry. And is there a lot of money in it? Yeah, back then. Not anymore.
No, Facebook's kind of desensitized all that. I mean, it really has. It's kind of brought it down to a level where anybody can get it, you know?
Why the hell do you think these guys are playing clubs again and not playing big arenas? It's because there's not enough money.
I was really hoping it was because they love that vibe, and I love being in those crowds. So
it's not because they don't love that vibe. Because they do, and I've been on both sides of the fence as far as touring. I've been to the big arenas, and I've seen, and I've been to the clubs. The clubs are a more intimate feel,
most definitely.
But profitability wise, you as a band profit far more in a club type setting than you ever will in an arena type setting, because in an arena type setting, it's a bigger platform, more people taking the cake. So, say. I don't really want to, I can't really discuss details, but say a very well-known touring band goes out and plays in Trust Arena, right? Tickets are $75 a shot. Oh, my God. Right? Do you know what the band puts back out of that?
I can't imagine, honestly.
About between $9 and $12 per ticket sold. Now, that's just taking care of the people that have funded the tour and this, that, and the other thing, and they're getting their profit off of it.
Right.
Out of that $9 to $12 that the band put back, they pay their road crew out of that. They pay their record label their dues out of that. They pay to upkeep their equipment out of that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They pay their stagehands. They pay their management company. So actually, the actual artist, if you break it down on a $75 ticket, is probably putting about maybe $2 a piece in the band in their pocket off of every ticket sold. Now, you say, well, Will, that's a lot of money. You're stupid. They're selling 20,000 tickets a night. You tell me when the last time you went to a metal concert that sold 20,000 tickets that wasn't tagged Ozfest, and I'll kiss your white ass.
Yeah, I can't seem to think of one right off the top of my head. No.
Not happening.
No.
And the reason why is because it doesn't fit into the mainstream category anymore. The people that love it don't support it on that level.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Now, if you take that same band and you let them play 5 nights at the Cotillion, the Round Mound of Sound right in Wichita, Kansas, they're selling out all 5 nights and they're making far more money.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody that wanted to go see them at the big place is still seeing them.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they don't. The record industry doesn't think like that.
Well, no, they don't make any money that way.
No. And it's just like any other business. It's the people that are going to make the most money off of it are the people that aren't even involved, per se.
By the way, it is blasphemy to have to pay $75 to see your favorite bands. It really is.
It makes it tough.
It does.
Because now I blame Ticketmaster for that. Yeah. Ticketmaster set a standard on these ridiculous fees so they could make their money, which I get. Every business needs money to survive. You got to profit to survive. I understand that. But gouging the general public because they like a particular act that's going to last sellout show, Kill Switch. Yeah, go figure. Go figure. Go figure that.
Right.
You know, I mean, go figure. Kill Switch Engage would sell 20,000 tickets. I mean, you know, all the muscle heads that are running around with ripped shirts and all the Remain shirts on and hats with American flags rolled up bills.
Oh,
and
man, doing the
white Oakleys are in there.
Pickup change.
Doing a ballet dance they call a mosh pit now. Jesus Christ. They wouldn't survive 1 minute in an old school Exodus pit at the outhouse in Lawrence,
no,
Kansas.
No, they'd be the guys. They would be the guys in the spandex pants getting their ass.
Bon Jovi's not playing tonight, you jackass.
That's right.
Never show up to an Overkill show in spandex.
Oh, it's not going to end well for you. I can promise you that.
I guarantee you Killswitch Engage is selling out shows. But there again, old school metal band.
Yeah,
the only band that you could consider old school that's still selling out arenas everywhere they go is Korn. And it's not because they're any better or worse than anybody. It's because Korn is here. I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to open it up for you to argue. Korn is without a doubt the Led Zeppelin musically of our time. They changed music. They revolutionized music and the direction of it. They made a notable change in the way music went.
Most definitely.
Right?
Most definitely.
So, longevity, yes. Will they sell out every arena they play? Yes.
More than likely.
And if they want to have Skrillex on tour with them, so goddamn what? It's John Davis and the company, man. They can do whatever they want.
The last time I saw him, I seen him in Tucson, Arizona, and I seen him with POD. Which, POD definitely put on a great performance, but Korn, man, it just blew the place up. It was like that whole town just lit up on fire.
I think Jay likes Killswitch Engage.
Hey, and, I'll give them their props. Honestly, I was a big fan of Jesse Leach, Killswitch Engage, but I liked Howard Jones, too. I think both of them had something to offer.
Yeah, and he says Linkin Park. Yeah, Linkin Park definitely would always sell out an arena. Linkin Park, a whole different demon though. Kind of, taking that turn with Korn, man. Really, just kind of getting in there and getting it done. So I guess I do stand corrected on a little bit of this things. I guess maybe my thought process is, when was the last time Slipknot sold out an arena?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably the last arena they played.
No,
you don't think so?
Not even close.
Wow,
Not even close. I went and seen them in Kansas City at the Sprint Center, and they were all projected. They were projecting the show was going to sell out, and it didn't even hit 3/4 capacity.
You got to realize the last time I saw Slipknot was on the Iowa tour here at the Cotillion,
when they would have sold out an arena.
Oh man, that place was packed, and it was pretty much the introduction of the Wall of Death.
But think about this though. Now just think about how quickly this happened for them. The Iowa record comes out. They're just off the heels of co-headline and Ozfest.
Oh, yeah. Which was the first place I seen them.
So they're selling out amphitheaters across the world with 10 other bands, right?
Right.
So they come off of that and they immediately go to a club tour. Why?
That's probably a pretty good question. I guess maybe to honor the fans that stuck with them through it, No.
Negatory.
I knew he was going to blow me away on this one.
Negatory. That's not why they did that. Because they have to, as an artist, you have to promote. And the way you support your record is to tour on it.
Oh, most definitely.
Right?
You have to tour your ass off.
They weren't going to come off of Ozfest and go start selling out arenas.
Well, no, of course not. They had to build up to it.
Now, I will tell you the magnitude of Slipknot as far as interacting and engagement with their fans. I watched Corey Taylor make 45,000 people simultaneously drop to their knees and jump up when the song started.
Yeah, I've been in that crowd.
Now, there wasn't one person left standing.
No.
Except for security.
No, and actually Sid came out into the crowd at the Cotillion and made sure everybody got down to one knee.
I seen this in a festival setting.
Really?
And it happened quickly.
That had to have been incredible.
Now you tell me how that isn't the definition of crowd interaction.
Well, and those are the people that make the crowd a part of the show, and that's what a lot of fans want to be. Is they want to be a part of that show, and that's why Ozzy's always been a really great entertainer. Is because you cannot help but feel like you are a part of that show when he's in control, when he's at the wheel.
Bingo, and that's why the club tours are always going to sell more, and get more response, because the people that are there, the select 2,000 people that are in that venue or 5,000 people that are in that venue are truly a part of that experience.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You know, and it brings to mind, I've seen Motorhead here the last time they came through on the
Jesus Christ, you're old.
Everything Louder Than Everything Else tour. And, you know, there was probably only about 1,000 people there, but I guarantee you every one of them was a raging Motorhead fan. Raging Motorhead fan. And there wasn't nobody there that didn't know who they were.
Dude, we've been talking for a long time. Nobody's telling us to shut up, but I want to rock, man. Let's get a circle pit going again.
All right.
Crank it up, man. We're going to rock you for a minute. Hell yes, we are back from break, man. What's going on? The Redneck Metal Mafia is gathered. We are having fun, man. Everybody out there tipping back cold ones, barbecuing, man, getting ready for the long extended weekend. God damn, I couldn't wait to get on air tonight. It's 106.6 The Blast, man. It's the Assault. It is an audio assault to your eardrums. Eargasms of sort in the form of thrash metal, punching you right to your goddamn ear holes, man. I'm talking about the shit. We had to throw a couple out to Victory Records there, man, just because we have label commitments that we have to conform to, man.
And so, because they're awesome.
Yeah, and then there's that. You know, I mean, dude, Conveyor just blows my mind. I mean, they do. You know, they do. Not thrash metal, but they're just.
I love the name because the name says it just keeps on going. It just keeps on going. It just keeps on
going.
They're
definitely a force to be reckoned with. I am the host with the most, Big Will, and to my left
is Metal Mike.
Metal Mike in the house, man. 106.6 The Blast. What are you thinking of this gig, man?
I am loving the shit out of this, Big Will. I am. This is the most fun I've had in a long time, and I have you to thank for it. I really do. Now, and all you listeners.
Now, listen. You're sitting amongst royalty. No, I'm just joking. I'm just me, dude. Listen, I've been doing this shit a long, long time. I've been in the music business the better majority of my life, somehow, some way. Oh, dude, speaking of the music business, remember last week when I was telling you, I think I was telling you off air about how all of a sudden one of my band's fans just sent me a message, just a random message with like pictures of a bunch of our cassette tapes, right?
Yeah.
Well, included in that picture was a 3-song demo that we recorded. It's actually the last demo that we recorded as a band, and it was stuff that we were getting ready to submit to a couple regulars, Columbia Records, and a couple other ones, and really make that go. So it was really recorded for them in the purpose of getting it to them, and a couple other ones that we released that I don't have.
Oh wow!
And so he just messaged me today and it's like, dude, I'm sending them to you.
Bootleg.
So
Will.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer those tapes to CD, obviously, and I'm going to send them back to him. You know what I mean? He can keep those. And I had the pleasure of writing it and recording it and this, that, and everything. But it's going to be really cool. And I will play it. I will put it on because here's the thing. We're going to talk about 90s metal, right?
Okay.
And when you hear this, you're going to agree that it deserves a spot here on this station. And I'll let you listen to a track from an early record, mid record, and then you can really see, man, when we started, you can hear as a band when we started to come up to that B level and start playing with better people and playing bigger shows and meeting with bigger people and doing bigger things. You can tell in the records that this last 3-song demo is probably my favorite 3 that we put on record.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the backstory of a couple songs before we play it.
Okay.
But one of the songs, actually the title track to the record, I'll kind of tease on it for a minute. We wrote that song while we were waiting for our guitar player to tune his guitar.
That's how some of the best music comes up sometimes.
And it ended up being a hit. Like this is the song that the labels wanted.
Okay.
And so it's just crazy. I mean, we're sitting there waiting for our guitar player to tune, And guitar players are always such a pain in the ass. They got to tune everything all the time. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, get some better equipment. I can't, man. I got to tune it. The lights and the humidity and blah, 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 blah. And so they're over there crouched down in front of their rig tuning. And they get pissy when everyone else is doing something. Like, shut up, quit hitting your drums and blah, 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 blah. So they started on that shit. And I looked at me and my bass player. We've been buddies since like 5th grade, right? So we just had a connection. And he turned around and looked at me and we just started jamming. And the next thing you know, the other guitar player, he starts jamming with us. Well, the other guitar player was tuning. He's getting pissed. But by the end of it, our vocalist was like free-flowing vocals, getting into the rhythm. And he didn't have any choice but to join in. It was either join in or get your ass beat, dude. I mean, that's what it was. Right. It's not our fault your guitar sucks. Shit. Goddamn guitar players.
It's not my fault. It's my guitar, man. It's not tuned.
These damn GHS boomer strings suck. Well, then play Ernie Balls, you broke bastard. I don't know what to tell you.
There's a reason they call it Ernie Balls.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm not a guitar guru, but surely they make better shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I had to tune my drums in between every song, that would have been stupid. Right?
Doom. Hey, you got that?
Yeah,
doom.
Give me an E chord, please.
Okay, hi-hat.
Yeah. Can I have an E chord, please? Jesus, God, yeah, you can have an E chord. Shove it up your ass. Let's play.
Give you an F chord.
God damn, my legs are going to sleep back here. My beverage is getting hot. Can we play? God, pardon me, sir. We got some rocking to do. Anyway, I think it's really cool, man. That after all these years, man. This person, they found me on social media, man, and they said, hey, dude, is this the deal? And I was like, yeah, man, what's up? And so they actually have this. They took the time to buy the record and support it, and they've held on to it all these years, man.
And obviously they still cherish it.
That was released in late, I think we got out of the studio in December of 96 on that one.
Wow. And that was just such a, honestly, I mean, anything after 94 was just prolific for me as far as like getting my thrash legs on, really. I mean,
right.
Because a lot of music I didn't listen to when it first came out, I mean, I can honestly say I was a big Overkill fan or, even like a Voivod fan back in the 80s when they first started, but getting into the 90s, man, I grew my legs and I did my research.
But is it because you're a late bloomer or because you just didn't, when you may have first heard them back in the 80s, you weren't sure that you were ready to commit to this lifestyle?
I honestly didn't have that. I didn't have people around me playing that level of heaviness, to be honest with you. And the more that it was played around me, the more familiar I became with it. And the more it just, like I said, when I still have bands today that I hear songs and it makes the hair on my arms stand on end. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand on end.
Like Pantera.
Oh, man. It just makes you want to drive and start a mosh pit in your living room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or in the grocery store or wherever the hell else you are that it comes on. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. You ever lifted weights and Pantera came on?
Oh, man.
And you're all jacked up on pre-workout and you're just looking for somebody. Like, dude, I am going to so level this cat. The next time this jack-off with a white sunglasses runs around this gym one more time like he's tough with his gym bag, I'm going to level his ass.
Primal Concrete Sledge.
I'm just going to stand up and throw an elbow and be like, sup, bruh? Shit. Get kicked out of the gym. Dude, moshing is one of the greatest inventions of all time.
It is so therapeutic. It really is.
It really, truly is.
And, I mean, if you have problems in life and you think everything's turning to shit, put on the heaviest song that you know and throw your arms and just wail about like a crazy, insane person. And I guarantee you 5 minutes later, you're going to feel better.
Well, there's a symbiotic relationship between anger in society and heavy metal record sales. Right? Because every election year, heavy metal record sales spike.
They do.
True still?
Very true. Very true. I like that heavy metal doesn't so much involve all the politics anymore. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the edge that that heavy metal has had on some of the politics of the world. You know, we have our
Rage.
Oh man, you know, and you have,
System.
Yeah, Tool.
System. Here's the thing, though: the politics in metal are they're either extreme or they're non-existent. That's what's beautiful about it. Like bands like System of a Down, very, very, very political in their stance.
Very political.
But deliver a message, man. And whether you relate to that message or not, you understand what they're saying. Why? Because this is what this station's all about, man. This is what metal music is all about. We're a fucking family, man. We're a family connected worldwide by 106.6 The Blast in the genre of music that has got us through the hardest and the best times of our life, man.
And we'll continue to do so.
And we'll continue to do so, right?
Yes, sir.
You can't say that for any other genre out there.
No.
They're not truly a family. They don't respect each other. They don't pick each other up in the pit, per se.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
We stick to ourselves and we take care of our own, man.
We do.
And that's what this is about, man. Family. We're one family under one banner, man, and we will take care of each other. Hence the stand-up movement, man, and the bands against bullying and all the other things that we're a part of, man. It's because people label us as bad people and outcasts and this, that, and everything. Well, they listen to that devil music. But we'll be the first one to help you carry your groceries, you old lady.
Yeah.
We'll be the first ones to walk out into the rain and open your door for you.
I am the nicest evil person you will meet.
Right, right. I'm the coolest cat in the world. Don't piss me off.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Don't piss me off.
That's
I'm
right.
angry.
You piss him off, you piss me off, and then you got a whole family on you.
And now it's just it's a big circle pit, and you're the circle jerk. You're the emo kid with spandex in the middle of a mosh pit.
Did we just come back around to a punk band name again?
Yeah, basically.
The Circle Jerks.
Yeah, the Circle Jerks. What a great band. Not Green Day. Green Day, not punk rock.
No. They are very...
Sid Vicious would have slapped them in their mouth.
Man. Yeah, first he would have vomited on them, then he would have slapped them in the mouth.
Speaking of crazy punk people, do you remember G.G. Allen, dude?
G.G. Allen, wow. Yeah, I remember
that
this
guy threw shit on people,
dude. Yeah, and then smeared it on people, and then would go straight up to somebody standing in the crowd and knock the shit out of them.
Yeah, and then killed himself on stage.
Yeah,
great.
Not in the fashion that he had hoped to, but in a fashion nonetheless.
G.G. Allen. I mean, definitely. Memorable experience.
Yeah, the mentors were definitely a force to be reckoned with back in their day.
Yeah. Have you ever read like the G.G. Allen thing where like, so you know it was his request like after he died they weren't to clean his body off,
right,
and do none of that stuff. So I guess like he like literally stunk so bad at his funeral.
I can only imagine the guy stunk anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, but like so bad, like dead shit smell.
Oh yeah,
and like it stunk so bad at his funeral that like they had to like hurry up.
Fatal fecal matter.
Yeah, because it was just like toxic. I mean, it's crazy, dude. Just crazy. Crazy mother grabber.
And it was my skater friends that actually turned me on to G.G. Allen, to be honest.
You know, but as far as a musician, in a songwriter, lyricist, great.
Well, and he definitely knew how to draw the people that were definitely into that style of music back then. He knew how to draw them in.
The old poopy punk.
Yeah, poopy punk.
Shit metal. That's a subgenre. G.G. Allen and the shit metal.
Yeah, and we have our modern day G.G. Allens. We had Seth Putnam for so long, you know, from AC, and come on,
not near as extreme.
Not as extreme like per se live, but I mean extreme nonetheless.
Extreme, but not G.G. Allen extreme.
No, I think there's going to be very few people that are going to amount to G.G. Allen extreme.
There's going to be nobody. G.G. Allen extreme. And thank God.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing.
Really, you know? In a way. Thank God.
If I'm paying $75 to see a band, the last thing I want to do is have fecal matter rained on me in the crowd.
Dude,
the only way that's going to happen is if maybe you're Guar.
Here's the thing. Guar. Here's the thing. I'm at a G.G. Allen show. And first he throws shit at me. And then decides he wants to come off the stage and come to me and try to hit me. I am going to beat the living snot.
Oh, I'm going to take his microphone and shove it down his throat.
I mean, what could it hurt? I've already got your shit on me, dude. I mean, I'm not scared to wrestle around on the floor with you at this point in time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a battle of might at that point in time. The only thing is that if you hit G.G. Allen, you better run because you got about 25 people on the floor that will kill you.
Oh, most definitely.
So one time I'm at a Slayer show. And I'm I'm standing on the side of the stage, and all of a sudden I see this cup come flying at the stage, and Tom's right in the middle of a song, and he sees it, and he's just in the middle of a verse, and he just moves his head to the side of the microphone, watches it fly by, and he doesn't miss a beat, right?
Right.
He gets this look in his eye, and I'm like, I have never seen this look before. After the song, he stops, he turns around, he gets his coffee, he takes a drink, and he says, "Really? You want to throw a cup at my face?" He goes, "Okay." He says, "You, right there. I seen you." He said, "All of you, get him."
I'll bet that man did not walk out of there without a limp that night.
I have not seen security move so fast in my entire life.
We need to escort this gentleman out ASAP.
That dude left the last time I seen him, he was going head over heels on top of the crowd, bloody, and his clothes were torn up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be right along with those guys tearing the shit out of him as he went over the barricade.
Yeah, dude. You just don't mess with Slayer.
No.
You don't.
No. They are undisputed for a reason.
And you talk about humble guys that have money. I mean, Kerry King, for God's sake, still lives in an apartment in Los Angeles.
That's awesome.
Doesn't even have a big, nice, fancy house. Lives in an apartment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Kerry King
actually lives right around the corner from some of the Sepultura guys.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe maybe Dave McClain from Machine Head lives right underneath him.
Wow. Wow.
Like if you go to this apartment complex with an autograph book, you'd come out happy.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean,
I'd love to hear the jam sessions in that place.
It was probably non-existent. It's probably quiet as hell in there. It really, truly probably is.
Right.
No, but a good friend of the show, good friend of the station, man, none other than Chris Contos, man, formerly Machine Head. Chris Contos, a brother, man. Good friend, man. Good awesome friend of the show, good friend of the station. Awesome. He's in a new project called It Will Kill.
It Will Kill?
Yeah.
I'm definitely intrigued.
Absolutely amazing music.
Wow.
On. So Chris Contos back in the music business, man. I mean, as far as the
I got to see him one time, and that was on the very first Machine Head tour with Slayer and Biohazard.
At that point in time, Machine Head was the only band that went on tour with Slayer that didn't get booed off stage.
Really?
True fact. Rob Flynn talks about it.
Hey, and I've heard that Alice in Chains even at one time opened for Slayer,
and they got booed off stage.
Right.
And so did every other band that played with Slayer.
It's hard to
Voivod got booed off a stage playing with Slayer.
See, wow.
Right? But up to that point in time, every other opening band got booed off a stage playing with Slayer.
It's
Machine Head?
No, and that's because those guys came from that same brutal era in San Francisco where
it's Bay Area metal, and I'm telling you, Bay Area metal is truly a family of their own. If you're not from the Bay Area, you're not part of their family.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of my favorite bands came from the Bay Area. You got Exodus, Violence, you got
Eazy-E.
Wow. All right.
Did we say? I mean, maybe not the Bay Area, but Oakland.
One of my favorite new bands, and well, they're not really a new band. One of the bands I've been listening to here lately comes from the Bay Area. They're called Light the City. Their CD Terminal Bloom just came out today, and it is true blue Bay Area thrash. It doesn't miss a lick. It really doesn't, and it reminds me that. This kind of music is going to keep going, whether people are listening to it or not, and the people that love it are the ones that are going to keep it alive.
Especially in the Bay Area, man. There's a really, really kick-ass band out of the Bay Area called Desecrator.
Desecrator.
Check them out.
I'll have to check them out.
Absolutely badass. Another group that, good friends of the station, good friends of the show, man. And great dudes, man. Sid, absolutely phenomenal. That Desecrator, man, check them out. They're from the Bay Area, just badass metal, dude.
The cool thing about Bay Area bands is they always lived up to their monikers. They did. I mean, Exodus was just totally unleashing on you, and Slayer, well, it speaks for itself.
There we go.
Death Angel.
We said we weren't going to talk about the big four.
No, I know. It's hard to leave them out. It really is.
It really is. I gotta say, man, Jesus Christ, it's been a good show.
I've been having a blast.
It's been a good show. Let's leave them with a little bit of thrash metal.
All right. I just really want to give a shout out to my family and friends, and once again to veterans. This day is for you.
This whole weekend, man. It's not really remembering. It's definitely remembering the fallen, but it's remembering humanity, man. I mean, just remember that the person standing next to you, man, in this country, on this soil, regardless of race, creed, religion, sexual preference, that's your brother or your sister, man.
Most definitely.
And if you reflect on anything this weekend, just look at the person next to you, man, and say to yourself, how different would this world be without this person? How different would this person's family be without this person? If you can't look at someone and ask yourself that, stay home.
I
stay home and reflect. Because I'm telling you right now, what this world needs, man, what this country needs right now more than anything is solidarity amongst the people. We have to put the bullshit aside, man. We have to. We have to quit looking at stupid things like the color of your skin, what God you choose to talk to at night, what body of person you choose to be in love with or have sex with, unless it's children, of course. That's not cool. I wanted to throw that out there. Yeah. I'm not, by far not condoning pedophilia or raping. But we have to look at each other, man, and at some point we have to say, we have to stand united, people. This is no different than taking care of our own. If you see somebody out there wearing a Slayer shirt getting beat up at a quick shop, you're going to go help them.
Oh, man.
Because it's bro code. This is what we do. It's part of the lifestyle that we lead. We take care of each other. We are connected.
Most definitely.
But as a whole, this country needs to come together, man. And even if for 48 hours we can put aside all of those differences and all of those biases that each one of us are guilty of having, and just simply coexist, we make a significant impact on the next 24 hours and the next 24 hours after that and the next 24 hours after that. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
I mean, it's just a matter of doing it. Now, it's not going to happen. No. But I wish that it could. And in the midst of all of it, man, you got 106 The Blast, giving a damn about the community. We do a lot for the community. We do a lot for bullying. We do a lot for the food drives across the country. Little Will and the Shamrock does that. We're just involved in the community, man, and we believe in doing good, man. It doesn't cost anything to be a good human being.
It doesn't. You're right.
It costs nothing.
You're right.
Put down your biases and your prejudices for a day, man, and just coexist.
Random acts of kindness.
Not even random, man. Premeditate them. Get up tomorrow morning and say, I'm going to do something nice for somebody today.
And see how far it goes.
I'm okay with that.
No, I am too.
Premeditated acts of niceness are still good too.
Right.
I mean, there's no shame in that. Anyhow, man, we're going to leave you with a little bit of thrash metal. We're going to make our exit, man. Thank you so much, man. The Redneck Metal Mafia, myself, Metal Mike, 106.6 The Blast, and all of you beautiful bastards out there listening tonight, man, thank you. Thanks for supporting Metal Mike, man. Weigh in. Let me know what you think of him. I want some feedback. Metal Mike, this is going to tape, man. This is your chance to tell the world good night.
Good night out there, family.
Peace out, bitches.